have Josh Payne coming to us right now. He is a founder turned investor. He's done this and that and everything in between. And his view and knowledge of what is happening across our space, perhaps in his own portfolio, maybe he'll tell us that as well, is going to be excellent for us, especially if you've got a company that you hope to get bought, acquired, and scaled to Mars someday. I'm talking about the one and only Josh Payne. Josh, get in here.
What's up, fellas?
Josh, man, we appreciate you making the time and joining the show, brother.
How you doing? I feel short next to you on this video.
You know, it's okay, man. It's okay. Everybody's got a different camera setup, and we respect that. We respect that, Josh. Josh, man, I would appreciate it if you would give our audience just a little origin story, backstory on you, brother, how you got to where you got today. I mean, you're a founder turned investor. Man, you've seen so many businesses, and now you guys are deploying capital, and then you've got a view that most of us don't have. How did you get here, man?
It's been a long road. I started my first company in 2011, so almost 15 years ago.
Wow.
We were a B2B marketplace, powering commerce for media brands. It was sort of like first of its kind back then. We raised a little bit of money, less than $1 million, and scaled that to 9 figures over the next decade.
Incredible.
And yeah, it's kind of an interesting way of, we got profitable, really early on, and just had this sort of different mindset on how to run the business, which I called seed strapping, as opposed to bootstrap. There's bootstrapping and there's raising a ton of venture. We kind of found the sweet spot in the middle. And it's one of the things that I actually advocate for as an investor today is raising the right amount of capital versus as much as you can. But anyway, ran that company for a decade. Sold it in late 2020, stayed on for a year, and then actually hooked up with Josh Resnick, who had founded a consumer brand called Sugarfina, which is a darling at that time, high-end confectionery brand. And he was an investor in my company, StackCommerce, and then we hooked up. He was doing CPG. I was investing in e-com enablement. Actually, speaking of PostScript, Alex and Adam worked for me. Alex worked for me for like 7 years. Adam worked for me for 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I was one of the first checks into PostScript.
Wild.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's incredible, Josh. You guys lore here, brother.
They're a part of the Stack Mafia, as I like to call them.
I love that.
And so we started Open Sky in 2022 as a future of commerce fund. So doing something really unique where half the investments were in consumer, half the investments were in what we call like commerce infrastructure. So it's a really different approach, investing in pre-seed and seed. We wrote 30 checks over the next 3 years, just finished up investing in Fund 1 out of Fund 1 last month. And now we're raising Fund 2. And just going to be doing the same thing, but more of it.
Incredible. Josh, could you talk to us a little bit about how you're spotting some of these winners? I mean, I'm looking at your portfolio now. Unbelievable talent in here. Sienna AI, Outer Signal, Set, is it Set? The nicotine
Set,
guys?
yep. The nicotine pouches, yep. Shoplifters in there on the B2B side. Yeah.
You guys Set too, Josh?
Magic Mind, Haven. I mean, Feel Goods. It's just unbelievable the names that you got in here. How are you finding these winners? You just talked about PostScript. You bet on PostScript super early on. That's a crazy good shot called. How are you finding these guys?
Golly.
Yeah, I think I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I've been doing this for a little bit, and I think just like being an operator, like one of the things I've prided myself in is that the companies that I run, I'm on the ground. I'm boots on the ground all the time, and so I think I just have a good sense of the pulse of the network, and I think. Having done a lot of angel investments, Josh and I both get referrals from founders that we've worked with in the past.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's a lot of founder referrals. It's a lot of networking and putting ourselves out there like this. And I've done deals with a lot of these people, and so now they're starting their second company, a different company, and coming back in that sense.
That's incredible.
Outer Signal. Outer Signal is about to go on a generational run. Run. They are going to Mars. I mean, do you agree? I think so.
I do agree. They're really special. One thing that you can tell that's special about Outer Signal is that rarely do you find brands posting organic social accolades about their service providers, about their vendors.
100%.
So rare.
So rare.
And people will just be like, dude, Outer Signal, holy shit, this is so cool, right? And like, I think Magic Mind is the one that comes to mind, where they found out Kim Kardashian was buying product through Outer Signal. So she was buying, I think,
really?
through her assistant, under her assistant's name, but it was like getting shipped to the house. So then, Outer Signal found that. Magic Mind shipped her a box, and she posted on Insta and was like, "Thank you so much. You guys are great. I love Magic Mind."
Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Super bullish on that team and everything they're doing over there. I mean, that's an example of a company that is just going to absolutely explode. I know that everybody wants to say, hey, I love my portfolio deeply. Everybody's equal. I love everyone equally. Do you have anybody in your portfolio you are particularly fired up about every morning? You get out of bed and you're like, God, I cannot believe that I got into that one. I am so excited about them. Your first love. Maybe your first love.
No, I mean, look, like you said, I mean, there's, we try to love everyone as equally as we can. But no, look, I mean, people are, certain brands or certain portfolio companies are moving faster than others. Let's say, I think on the consumer side, one that we think is doing incredibly well is Fishwife.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, but, I mean, yeah, and I remember when Becca came to us. I can't remember exactly how we met her or how that deal came in, but I remember telling Josh Resnick, because he's more of the CPG guy, and I was like, look, I think this, I kind of said it was, better for you tinned fish, which isn't very sexy, but I was like, I can't think of anyone doing this. And the branding is just so on point. It's just so unique. It's so authentic. Yeah. And they've just been on a tear, opening up a category that really, I don't think anyone was looking at. A very unsexy category, I would say.
It is very unsexy. It's very,
yeah.
But there's something about that. There's something about that, like hipster branding. It makes me feel like everybody in whatever cool sector of New York, whichever one is the best, it's like they're like uber happy to pull out this like sexy looking canned tinned fish and pull that baby out because it looks like art. I mean, it does. It's got like status to it.
It's really cool. The guys at SET, as you mentioned, really, I think when you look at venture and kind of like what's going on, a lot of it is form factor innovation, right? Like, so AG1 was crushing, Grunes came along, didn't really do a lot different. It was just form factor innovation, right? So they put AG1 into a gummy, right? And it blew up, right? So one of the form factors now that we think is already doing well, but I think it's going to 10x from here is pouches. Pouches, to me, seem like the next big thing. Like where gummies are today, I think pouches will be in 18 months.
Yeah,
maybe.
Give me all the pouches. I'm down for it.
Well, yeah, it's big in Europe. It's big in a lot of different places, and I think it's going to continue to grow.
Well, Josh, I mean, let me ask you this. I totally think, I agree, like pouches are here to stay and everybody loves them. Zins, like there are fewer Zins being bought. I think that's because there's so many like other awesome products in pouches that are being bought. But can you do things with it that aren't nicotine? That aren't like kind of like, feel like nicotine, betterment, focus, etc.
That's what we're seeing now. The first one after nicotine was caffeine. Now you're seeing nootropics. We're talking to a brand that does electrolytes, vitamins, right? Like actually one of the brands we talked to has one called Free, and I was like, well, what's that? And he's like, it's nothing. And I'm like, why would it? I was like, why would it? It's nothing. It's just a pouch with no benefits, no flavor, no nut. And I was like, why would someone? He's like, just for the feel of it.
Wow.
Okay.
Just give me a pouch full of peptides, honestly, and let me bet on that winner with all of the money I have. Do you have, speaking of betting on some of these winners, do you have something where you have a story where you maybe had talked to a company? The biggest one is Gary Vee always talks about he missed the initial check going into Uber on their initial seed, and you were like, oh gosh, I totally passed on them, and I totally should not have. Do you have one of these stories where you're like, oh gosh, I just didn't see it? And then a couple years later, I'm like, oh, dummy, why did you not see that? That's such an obvious call.
We passed on Chad. We passed on Grunes.
Oh!
At a 10 million valuation, $10 million pre-seed valuation.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts.
Oh my god.
He had just launched. He had launched days before, maybe a week or two before, and it was sort of like I don't know. You know, the big thing is sometimes you're too practical as a VC, meaning like what do I like or what do I want, right? And so like when we looked at it, we were sort of like, well, I think what we missed was, number one, Chad was incredible. Like you're just a beast of a founder, right? So sometimes you got to ignore your little things and just say, okay, this founder's insane. So we missed that mainly. But the thing that, like, personally, Josh Resnick and I both didn't love the idea of eating 4 to 5 gummies, like just, and there's sugar content in there, I believe. I'm not sure how much. But it just kind of felt, I was just like, that's not a daily habit that I can see, that I think I would want to do, And it was, gummies were there, Create was there, a couple others were in the space, but it wasn't so big. And so, we, in the same way that I'm saying, I think pouchers are going to be huge. We bet against gummies. We were just like, I don't, and that was just wrong. We were complete. I mean, obviously Create is massive and amazing. So Dan's doing incredible work there. So it was just a miss on the form factor.
Wow.
That's interesting. As we're talking,
they're
go
right
ahead.
Behind you, Chris. They're right behind you too.
They're there. Grunes is right.
And they're incredible.
One that kind of fires me up right now is our good friend Ben over at Lilic. He's basically he's basically made lollipops and electrolytes. I mean, you can do anything. Yeah. You can put anything in there. But the specific point is like all the good stuff that he wants to give his kids that they won't take. Now they can take it in a tasty lollipop form. And I will say it tastes great. And so like this is always the point for me, like any kind of like new form factor or health benefit or whatever. It's like, but how does it like actually taste? Does it taste good? If it does, then there's like potential for mass, consumer appeal. I'm excited about that as like a new potential form factor. Do you think there's credence to that, Josh? You think there's something there?
I don't know. I mean, the target market is what, kids, or is it or?
I think it's anybody, but anybody. They created it in the vein of like, I want to give my kids, they want candy. I don't want to give them candy. They won't take electrolytes. Like, how do I get it to them in a tasty form? And now his kids eat these things up, and I was eating them all last weekend.
Maybe. I mean, again, it's one of those, like, one of the challenges as an investor is when you have your own internal bias. Like, I never eat candy. Like, not because it's not even good for me. I just, for whatever reason, it's just not my thing. And so, you got to get outside yourself. You got to talk to sometimes you got to talk to your kids. You got to talk to your friends' kids, or, if they have teenagers or whatever, or whoever. But I think it could be interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. What do you guys think about this Skio news and recharge?
Amazing. We just covered it this morning. I mean,
you did.
Incredible. Oh yeah. I mean, I feel so strongly that subscription is the next wave of all things e-commerce, and you get everything kind of buttoned up into subscription. You talk about it for, basically software multiples. You basically do the Grunes playbook, you do the Create playbook, and you exit for a bag to Unilever. That is my called shot for a couple brands right now.
And I would think, Josh, for you, having lived in this world of commerce infrastructure, this has got to be very interesting for you. I mean, what do you think of it?
I think it's super interesting. So one of the things that's different about OpenSky is, we're again back to that model on efficiency, right? So one of the reasons why that's important, and one of the reasons, like we're not necessarily underwriting and looking for the next Anthropic at
Yeah.
OpenSky, right? I mean, it'd be great if we did, but the first round on Anthropic or whatever, it's 100 million pre-money or whatever, right? So we're looking to 5 to 15x our money on the majority of our deals. We're underwriting a 10x normally, right? So them exiting for 9 figures in this space is one of the bigger exits in commerce infrastructure in a while. I mean, obviously there's Klaviyo and other things like that, but it seems like a really clean exit. I'm curious how much was like cash versus equity, but I think it's huge validation for the space, and it's also validation for this model of again what I was calling seed strapping earlier, which is, hey, raise 2, 3, 4, 5 million bucks at a 10 million cap and make your investors 10x. The founders make life-changing money for the rest of their lives. Team does well. They probably got a good chunk of recharge equity. So they have a second bite of the apple if and when recharge exits or IPOs, right? So it's a win across the board. I think where founders get in trouble is they just get this insatiable appetite to like raise. And look, it worked out for Chad and Grooms, but there's a bunch of stories, and I mean, you could point to a gajillion, where they raised 50 million, 100 million, and they have a good company today, but they have too much pref, and they're below the pref, and it's like, oh man, that's a shame. That's a good group of people doing good work, but like everyone is like, oh, they suck or whatever, just because they raised a little bit too much money.
I love this concept of seed
totally.
strapping. Josh, I've never heard it before. I think it's so smart. And I think that a lot more founders in our space, every side, agency, brands, software. I mean, I think a lot more founders need to hear this. Yeah. It's always just been in my mind. It's like, man, you bootstrap it or you like raise to the hilt, and then you got to hit a grand slam. But this seems like a much more like practical, profitable way forward.
Well, it is. It is, because as a first-time founder, I do think you need to raise a little bit. Why? Because you probably don't have enough, a lot of dough in savings, just to get started. You may not have the connections. You need some validation from investors. You'd love to have the introductions. You'd love to have the advisory. You'd love to have the input. And you can get all of that for pretty minimal dilution, 15 to 20% dilution, like one time, right? So you raise 2 on 10 or whatever, and you're in a pretty good spot. And so it's a pretty inexpensive way to get those really core early initial introductions to hires, introductions to partners. Again, validation. So when people look at you and say, oh, should I work with them? And it's like, oh, backed by whoever, OpenSky, Bonfire. It's a big deal. So I call it the Goldilocks of investing.
There we go.
Right there.
I like it. Right, just right.
Yeah. Is there anybody outside of your current portfolio that you're kind of admiring from afar, where if they approach you and you're like, I'd love to give you some money, but you're not in the portfolio right now, you're kind of just floating around doing your own thing? It is the Skio of a couple years ago, where it'd be great if they raised on the 3, 4, 5 and just kind of went up and to the right from there, and you're just kind of spotting them like a hunter spotting a lion from afar.
Well, if I'm certainly not going to say it on this show, because
come on,
I don't want everyone out there going after him. I got to keep some things on the DL.
I'll say this, Josh. Man, you've got to come back to us, because the more that you talk, man, the more I realize that you've got a lot in there, man. Yeah, and you've got a lot of perspective, having been involved in all of the companies that are in you guys' portfolio and the deals that you see, and the companies that are working both on the commerce infrastructure side, but also on the brand side. I find really unique. I mean, let me ask this, Josh: is there anywhere that you got content you're writing, you're posting, etc.? Because I feel like we need to hear more from you.
Yeah, what's going on? Let's find it on LinkedIn and X it's at JN Payne.
At JN Payne. I found you this morning, and we're following each other now. I feel like there needs to be a Josh newsletter out there too that everybody should go subscribe to. I'm just spitballing. I'm just spitballing.
Hey,
Josh.
hey, help me out here. We need to get something going.
All right, so everybody needs to go follow Josh on Twitter, on LinkedIn, JN Payne. And if you've got the next big thing, you need to go seed strap it with OpenSky. I think that's the move.
Absolutely.
Right.
Wow.
Agreed. Thanks,
Josh,
fellas.
We appreciate you coming. We look forward to having you back, man. Cook up more for us.
Appreciate it.